Welcome to I Need a Coach, where we interview top coaches, experts, authors, and speakers, hear lessons of success and examples of how they grow their business. My name's Adam Packard. I'm the host of I Need a Coach. For the last 7 years, we've worked with over 500 coaches, consultants, experts, authors, and speakers in helping them start and generate more conversations naturally through LinkedIn. Today, our special guest is Hector Bordas. He's going to give you a 30,000-foot view of leadership development, and how to elevate your career in the leadership space. So hope you tune in and enjoy the show. All right, welcome back to I Need a Coach. I am joined today by Hector Bordas. Hector, great to see you. Thanks for joining us on our podcast.
Hey, Adam, this is fantastic. Nice to see you. Hopefully the fourth day of the new year has been really good to you.
It's been a good start to the year. So hope it's been great for you as well. Let's kind of dive in. I want to give the audience a chance to get to know you and your background and who you help, who you serve, ask you some questions about your coaching practice, but give us a little overview on kind of who you ideally work with and what your specialty is.
Oh, fantastic. Thanks for letting me do this. Who I work with, I thought I was going to be working in a specific niche, and in the renewable energy industry, because I love that industry. It turns out I work across many industries, and it's fantastic because I get exposed to people, leaders, executives, and anywhere from tech to government, construction, startups, you name it. So, and people all across the United States and even some other parts of the world. I coach a gentleman in Germany and this lady in Russia, and I'm not sure how she found me, but she found me, which is fantastic. It's a good thing. So I work across many industries and people at different levels, and I get a lot of pressure working with people that are kind of new to their leadership position, their executive position, because it's a great fresh start to get them on a good strategic path to grow their career, their executive presence, or whatever those areas that they want to grow and develop.
That's awesome. So how did you get into this? Let's backtrack. And where did you all of a sudden say, I'm going to be a coach? Because we know how many coaches are out there, right? I mean, coaching became very popular after COVID hit, and everybody raises their hand and say, I'm a coach. So kind of tell us how you started into this journey, and what did the beginning of your coaching practice look like? How did you kind of lay out the plan and create your offer and go through all that?
Well, lay out the plan. I don't know that it was like a specific plan and strategy developed, but I just kind of grew into this. So I've been working with various teams of different sizes way over 20 years. And at one time, I was doing civil engineering because I have a degree in civil engineering. And my employer was LA County Public Works. And I kept finding myself in these situations and offers to lead this very complex programs and projects that nobody wanted to take on, that require extensive leadership experience and working with people directly, communication, handling the politics. And somehow I was successful in doing that. And these are very high level projects. If you want, we can talk about them a little bit more. So I did that for many years. And then I kept getting new assignment. Hey, we got this division, this team that has challenges. It could be culture, communications, collaboration, engagement, or just no strategies on how to execute. And my job was to take those teams and turn them around. And and there were teams of several hundred people. And I was successful in doing that. And it was incredibly challenging. So I learned a lot about leadership, what works, what doesn't work. And I studied a lot, took many courses, read a lot, talked to people. And so I was on that path, and then started mentoring people and one-on-one. And that seemed to work well. And then have more and more people approach me to mentor them and kind of guide them. And then I started slowly switching from the mentoring to more of the coaching style. And that was all internal within the company. So I thought, hey, well, this works. Why not try it with outside the company? Because there's money to be made there. It was kind of scary because within the company, you know the people, you know the culture, and you know these people for a while. So there's comfort there. So once I said, okay, I want to go venture outside, wow, it's a little bit scary. So then I took some classes and certifications on coaching, which gave me some comfort. So then I started doing that one-on-one, and remarkably, I got more and more comfortable doing it, and now I have a bunch of people that I work, and it's phenomenal, and it keeps growing slowly, which is good. And I'm working with you, obviously, and that has helped tremendously. So that has been the path. It's not that, hey, many years ago, I'm going to be an executive coach to provide that. That wasn't in the game plan, but it grew into that little by little, and now it's my passion. I love doing. I get so much out of it, and it's a pleasure just to meet people and work with them.
So you either got forced into that leadership position or kind of put yourself in that position and kind of sink or swim, trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. So when you said you did a lot of studying around leadership and what works and what doesn't, and kind of developed your own philosophy, what did you study? Who did you learn from? And do you have any like core beliefs around what leadership is and should be?
Well, I didn't. It wasn't I was forced into this. In some situations, I just said, "Hey, I want to do this. This sounds like fun, even though it's incredibly challenging." But I held leadership positions going way back: elementary school president, school class president, troop leader in the Boy Scouts. So I found myself always in these situations, and so there was something there, and so it was a kind of natural progression. In terms of learning, there was, I'm not going to remember the name of the company. It's Eagle Leadership, I believe, but it has evolved over years. It was a leadership boot camp, and this was somewhere around early 2000, 2003, around there. This leadership boot camp, which we were outside, and it's pretty hardcore. And that really inspired me to really learn more about leadership. It was like, it was the spark. I said, oh my gosh, there's so much to that. So that was the initial spark. And then obviously there's so many books out there. And some of them are phenomenal books that kind of help you think a little bit differently and approach work differently and business differently. So it's been fantastic.
So who do you learn from now? Like who is, do you, obviously it's a ongoing process to kind of, stay with the trends and what's working now, compared to what worked 5 years ago. Is there anybody that you study or any other certifications you're going after to kind of increase your skill set there?
When in terms of study, I don't do just coaching because I still practice it. I work with private companies, so I get into the company and look at the issues and what are the challenges. I'm actually continue to practice it, not just coach it. And then helping organizations build, strategic plans and strategic initiatives. So I'm still practicing the leadership, which I think it's critical because then, over time, you lose touch with what's the latest, what's happening. But lately, I've been kind of going back to some of the early books to kind of refresh myself. And there's this one book, I have it right in front of me. I gifted it for Christmas to a bunch of people. And it's an old book, but hold it up. It's called Rework. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
Yep, I've heard of that one.
It's good. It's a company. One time it's called 37 Signals, and now called Base. And that is a fantastic book because it helps you think much differently on how to run a business. And so I'm actually just kind of going back and refreshing myself with some of the early books, which is fun.
Nice. Always good to do. So you and I have had this conversation a few times. When we talk about you're a coach, you do leadership development, leadership training. There are thousands of coaches out there that do similar work. So the big question is, how do you stand out? How do you differentiate and be different than every other coach that's out there? Because it's just it's a challenging market, with a lot of competition.
Yeah, it's like it really is challenging. There really is. And it's not just the individual coaches. There's companies out there that have, a bunch of coaches and they're very aggressive in their marketing. They know what to do. But I think the difference is just the connection I'm able to make with people. For example, I had a call with this gentleman yesterday. First time we talked, and he was interested in coaching. And man, we hit it off. Within a couple of minutes, we just hit it off. So I think that's one of the factors that differentiate me, is be able to make those connections fairly quickly and be able to just to talk, just to have a conversation and be comfortable sharing. And for some reason, people, they just share things. They're willing to be very vulnerable. And I don't know if it's skill that I have, whatever, but I think it helps in getting clients because they feel very comfortable with me. And they're comfortable with sharing amazing things about their life and their career path and their journey. And also, I think also important is that once we're working together, I really push people. It's not a passive exercise. It's not, we're just going to have a talk. I really push people, hold them accountable, really dig in deep. And sometimes you have to be very strong and harsh. And, hey, I see this thing, and it may be something that they're not seeing, or they have these blind spots. So I'm willing to there at any time. And so, even though we have great conversations, I really go in there deep. And part of it is not just the coaching. I try to get a sense of where they're at. So I put myself in their place and their situation and their company, and then have that perspective.
Yeah. You mentioned something. You have to have that connection and you have to build a relationship. There's too many coaches out there, and you and I have had this conversation that they're just trying to sell what they do, whether it's a post that they make, whether it's in a message, whether they're trying to get you onto a strategy session right away, right? Yeah. Cold message. That just doesn't work. You have to get your foot in the door. You have to add value. You have to, no one's going to pay you thousands of dollars until you have a conversation, right? You have to see if there's a connection and if there's a fit, and almost see if a second call makes sense, right? So tell me a little bit more about the actual business practices. Like, what's your day-to-day? How many clients are you actively managing? Obviously, you and I are working together, so we have the conversation starting going on our end, but other areas that business comes from. Just kind of give us an overview of the snapshot of the business and where you get it from.
Well, the business comes from a lot of different places. LinkedIn, obviously. And then working with you and getting on the calls, it has helped tremendously. But some of it's referrals, and referrals are not easy to get. However, I have some amazing clients. If you go to my LinkedIn profile, you see their recommendations, and they're willing to connect with other people. And I have close 40 clients right now, or one-on-one, and then a couple corporate clients, which it's fun. And then I work on my connections. There's potential clients back in the government sector where I used to work, and I'm going to be reaching out to them, and because they have reached out to me, and so that's going to be interesting. And if it works out, that'll be fantastic. Right? You mentioned something. There has to be the connection. I actually turned down a couple folks that said, hey, I don't think this relationship is going to work. And that relationship is important. It really is critical, because you take money, great, and then the coaching doesn't go anywhere, or it gets to be problematic. And that's not good. There has to be a connection in that level of comfort that we can just go deep into some areas that sometimes are a little scary.
Yeah. So how do you manage, this is always a challenge for me. How do you manage 40 clients? How do you keep in touch with 40 people? Do you have help? Do you do it all yourself?
I do it all myself. I'm a one-person show. And actually, it's not that hard. It really isn't hard to track. Not like those, oh my gosh, hundreds of emails. Not really. For me, it's fairly easy. I can actually handle a lot more, but it's fairly easy to manage these clients. And the way I do this is, it's impossible for me to track all their issues and everything else. I have a system that they track their own progress, their own challenges, where they want to go. So they're mainly doing that self-reporting, and then they report back to where they're at. What is working, not working, what are some issues right now, kind of the long-term thing. So they kind of do the tracking themselves, which helps.
Mm-hmm. So you got 40 clients. I'm sure a lot of them have similar issues. What's one of the most common issues, challenges that you see in working with people, and then how do you help them overcome it?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. There are folks in high leadership positions, and obviously folks are just starting off, but they're not sure what they want. They're not sure what they're in maybe a good paying career or in a good company, but they're not sure what they or where they're going. They're just going somewhere, And so you ask them, what are your career goals? What do you want to do a year from now or 2 years from now? How do you see yourself? Who is this future self person out there? And they have a difficult time describing that. And so part of the work when I run into those situations that start with the end game, and who are you? Who do you want to be? Where do you see yourself? And not just career level, but throw in the personal, because it's one package. And then once we define that well, then we work backwards. Okay, what are your roadblocks to get there? What are your priorities? What do you have to do today that's critically important to be that person 6 months, a year from now? So I see that a lot. Then time management obviously is huge, and that's almost across the board. And I have a to-do list of 100 items. How the heck do I handle that? Or people get overwhelmed. They just, oh my gosh, there's so much. All these emails, phone calls, meetings, Zoom, everything else. People get overwhelmed. So part of I help them is how to determine what's truly important, not just on a monthly basis, but on a daily basis. So they just focus on that. Those big items, those actions, decisions that are going to pay off tremendously, and then ignore everything else. Really, once you define that, you just have to ignore everything else and have to say no to a lot of things. And some people that's uncomfortable doing that. But once they start to realize, oh my gosh, I'm getting a lot of stuff done, important things done, and they're actually finding time to do other things, to exercise, to spend more time with their family. But you have to determine what you want and what's truly important.
Almost like priority management over time management.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it. What are your big goals for 2024? Are you a big goal setting guy? Are you a resolution guy? Are you someone that sets targets for revenue or number of clients you want to work with? What's on the scope for 2024?
Well, I want to continue to grow my business, and I'm because I'm very fortunate that I have the time to do that, and to bring in additional clients, and continue to work with clients that are much higher in their careers and high level executives. The reason is that it challenges me. Because those people have gone through many years, many challenges, many career levels, sometimes several companies, or they have their own company. And so getting to that level, working with those people, it challenges me, and also, exposes me to, another level of coaching. So that's where I want to head to, and see what happens. No, it's not to see what happens. It's, I'm being very strategic about it. I'm not going to let something else define me. I'm being very strategic about it.
And do you have any coaches that coach you, or have you had in the past?
Oh, good question. So that's a really good question. So, okay, I've had coaches me. I actually was working with one not too long ago, and she was tough. She was great. And she helped me look at my business from a different perspective. It was really a business coach, how to set up my program, how to target specific market areas, looked at my LinkedIn profile, my marketing, my website, all those things. And she was very helpful. And I'm thinking that I'm, not right now, maybe a few months from now, engage her again just to kind of do a check-in. But yeah, I use coaches also, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, I believe everybody should have a coach of some sort. I mean, I've got coaches, mindset, operations, business. I'm always a believer that, hey, if someone else has done this before and knows a part of the business that I don't know and can help me with this, if I can pay them to help me do it faster, I do that all day long. So, all right. So you gave us the priority time management tip there on the leadership. So give us a couple other nuggets in terms of either leadership strategies or tips or tricks or something that any coach or any individual could say, I want to increase my leadership capabilities. Do these three things. What would those 2 or 3 things be?
Oh my gosh. That's a hard question because there's actually like 3 things. We're all individuals. We all have our own challenges, our own issues, and our journey is different. So it's not like, hey, let me tell you the 3 things and you're done. You're ready to go.
Just dipping their toe in,
So like for myself, I can tell you what works for me, but it may not work for you. However, if you look at leadership from very high level, 30,000 foot level, and very basic, it's like you have your mission, your goals. You got to know that. You got to know where you're going. Very, very clearly. It's not some vague goal. I'm going to build trust in this industry because that's very vague. It's very specific. Leadership leader, you have to know that. You got to know where you're going. Then you have to develop the strategy. Okay. And do you do that on your own? No, you have a team, 1-person team or, 100-person team. What are the strategies? And then make decisions, take action. That's really high level. But there's so much in there. You start at the top is, okay, so you have a very clear expectations, goals, where you want to go. Then you got to communicate that. And you have to influence people. And you have to have good communication skills, amazing listening skills. Listening is so critical, more than talking over long. Listening. So you got all those, soft skills, the mindset, emotional intelligence at that level, the presence, the leadership presence also. And then, working with the team on the strategies and the collaboration, getting people engaged. And so it's not just, at the very high level, it's, clear mission, vision, your goals, very clear, be able to communicate that, your strategies, and then make decisions. If leaders are not making decisions, forget it. You're not leading. You have to, you got to make decisions. So that's very high level. Yeah. But if as a leader, you're constantly thinking strategically, that's very powerful.
Yeah. That's awesome. Good stuff. So, if people want to find you, tell us where do they go to find more info about your work, your coaching? If they want to connect with you, tell us where to go.
You can find me on LinkedIn, Hector Bordas, and there's a lot of information on LinkedIn, and there's ways to connect with me on LinkedIn. My website is onepluswe.com. There's a story there. So it's onepluswe.com, and then you can email me at Hector@onepluswe.
Awesome. Hector, great to have you on. Thanks for the nuggets, and looking forward to a great year together.
Fantastic, Adam. This has been really good.
Awesome.
Great to see you.
Great to see you too. Chat soon. Thank you for joining us on this episode of I Need a Coach. If you've made it this far, I genuinely appreciate your dedication. Putting this podcast together takes a lot of time and energy. In return, we only ask one thing, which is if you could please leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. This helps our show get in front of more people so we can help more people. This is Adam Packard signing off. Keep coaching, keep thriving, and see you in the next episode.